Hello, thank you for joining me today. Today is Sunday, May 24th. I am here on Iboga Island in the California Delta, and this is Sunday Sermon number 3. My name is Christian. My Bwiti combo is Nzambikana. Our church is the Third Eye Church, and our sacrament is Iboga. Iboga is a small shrubbery that is native to a small country in Africa called Gabon. The iboga plant can be anywhere from 3 or 4 feet tall up to a small tree. It has small orange fruits on it, and the seed in those fruits looks just like the human brain. It's pretty crazy. Check it out. Well, the Bwiti are a very small percentage of all the people in Gabon, and the Bwiti have been working with the iboga for thousands of years. Thousands of years. The Bwiti, it's not a religion, it's more of a spiritual practice. It's the study of life, and there's many different types of Bwiti that are in Gabon. And it's amazing. When you travel through Gabon, through the Bwiti villages, everybody has a temple. There are temples everywhere. And in these temples, the villagers work with Iboga and practice community. And their community is very strong, the Bwiti. They have ceremonies that start at sunset, that go all night long. There's old people, there's young people, there's babies, there's pregnant women, there's animals, there's on people on drums, there's people playing the mogongo, the bow harp, doing, doing, doing. There's people playing the harp, multi-string harp. There's there's so much happening. There's so much community. There's so much love, and they're having songs, and they're chanting, and they're smiling, and they're dancing, and they've been doing this for thousands of years, and they've been working with it to perfect the way they work with it for a very, very long time. And their history is oral. So they tell stories, and they tell stories on how they found Iboga, how they worked with it. They know who their relatives were. They know who the kings of their villages were, who the chieftains were. And when they have these ceremonies and the Westerners go to participate, the Westerners have been invited to join in with the Bwiti and in these ceremonies. And the Bwiti are very outgoing to welcome Westerners, people from all over the world, to join them, to have initiations. They welcome into their groups. They teach them, and they teach them how they work with it. They're very giving. The Bwiti are very outgoing. They allow us to come and join with them, but it always has not been like that. Hundreds of years ago, during colonialism, when people were coming from other parts of the world to Africa and taking slaves and bringing diseases, they criticized the Bwiti when they found out that the Bwiti were using this iboga plant in a way that they didn't like. They considered it voodoo, black magic, and the Bwiti hid the iboga, and they hid their practices, and they hid their learnings, and they hid their traditions, and they hid it away so it wouldn't be lost. They saved iboga from being lost to the modern times. And then probably, maybe, I don't know, 150 years ago, 100 years ago, they started to allow people to work with it, to learn about it once again until the modern day. And there's a lot happening recently with iboga in the news. The United States has recently announced that they are going to fast track research into ibogaine and find out its therapeutic potential to work with drug companies, pharmaceutical companies, researchers. scientists, they're going to look at ibogaine, which is an alkaloid, and they're going to find out, is it really true? Is it a miracle? How does it work with the human body, the human brain, the organic computer that is us, that is the human body? You know, we know an awful lot about our world, but we don't know everything yet. So a lot of states are throwing tens of millions of dollars into this research. Everybody is very excited, but with it comes risks and concerns. What's going to happen? Are these big drug companies going to break it apart? Are they going to patent it? Are they going to make it a prescription only drug? Are they going to make it so where you have to take it every day for the rest of your life and you always have to pay? Well, you know, we don't really know what's going to happen. And Gabon is taking steps to protect themselves because they are the source of where modern day Iboga comes from. And I'm not just talking about the source of the actual plant root material, because ibogaine can come from other sources as well as be synthesized from chemicals. It can come from the Africana vulganaga plant, right? It can come from other things. So it doesn't have to come from the iboga shrubbery and be made into ibogaine. It can come from other places. But traditionally, the Bwiti have held this plant, worked with it, built an entire culture around the study of life and the use of iboga, ceremonial, spiritually, medically, all these things. So what's happening is they have recently had a gathering of kings in Gabon, kings of villages from all far and wide. You know, three maybe countries where iboga traditionally grows in the modern day. And they came from all these different Cameroon, Congo, Gabon, and they met. Well, why did they meet? Because they want to protect the iboga from exploitation, and they want to see reciprocity of benefits back to Gabon because they worked so hard to hold it. Is it their proprietary information? Well, I believe it is. They hid it and released it back to us. And we should be appreciative of that work that they did to bring it to us today. It could have been lost forever, but it wasn't. In the 1960s, a guy who had been using opioids, opium, heroin, I'm not sure exactly what it was. He experimented with the iboga root, the root bark, and he found that his addiction to the opioid magically disappeared and he didn't have the craving anymore to keep doing that other drugs. It took it away. It was a miracle. It takes it away in one night. The scientists don't have any idea right now how it even works. It's amazing. Well, Gabon wants to have control over the raw root bark and the proprietary information of the derivatives of iboga. Ibogaine is one of 13, some say 20 or 30 different alkaloids that are active in the root bark. Well, I wish Gabon luck on, and I hope they can do it in the world court. I hope they can secure the traditional rights to iboga and its derivatives because they deserve it. They held it for us. They kept it for us. And before all this new research happened, they allowed the rest of the world to learn from it, learn from their practices, and to benefit from it. They have been taking Westerners, inviting them into their ceremonies, teaching them the secret oral traditions that the Bwiti hid away from the colonialists, then they have been giving it freely to the world. And we have been aware of that. And some people have been giving back. And that has been very important. But now everything's changing at lightning speed. Hundreds of millions of dollars are going into this research. Well, what's going to happen? It's pretty wild. So it's changing by the day. And I believe strongly that the benefits should return back to Gabon country, not just the Bwiti, but all Gabonese should benefit from their people, the Bwiti, and how they saved it for us today. Well, what might that look like? They're having a fund that they are going to create where anybody who wants to use it will have to pay into the fund, and that fund will benefit the Bwiti. Now, Gabon is a relatively wealthy country for Africa. I think it's the top third or fourth most wealthy country on the African continent. And where does that wealth come from? That wealth comes from the extensive natural resources such as timber and offshore oil. Well, I went to Gabon myself and I saw modern roads. I saw people with iPhones on the internet. It's a pretty modern country in a lot of ways. But once you get off the main roads and you go a little bit into the jungle, it's not very modern. 2 out of 3 Gabonese don't have access to flushing toilets, open pit toilets. There's a lot of malaria. People don't have medicine, dental, eye healthcare, right? Hearing. There's it's a very poor country at the same time that it's very wealthy. It's very black and white in many ways. And I very, very firmly believe that the world embracing ibogaine and iboga should return benefits to Gabon, all Gabonese, and the Bwiti especially. And this needs to occur. It needs to happen. Basi, Basi. There's very different ways on how the Iboga experience happens in Gabon and in the Western way of using it. For instance, the Western way that we've learned to use Iboga is they take the Iboga root bark in a powdered form, and a lot of it comes from illegal Iboga plant harvesting in Gabon. It's smuggled to Cameroon and it's mailed to all over the world because Gabon passed the law about 10 years and they recognize that it's a critical natural resource. It is a beautiful resource that is prized by Gabon. And this is quite a while ago. I think it was in the 1990s that the past president, um, Babongo, passed laws saying that it's a prized national resource and it cannot be exported legally, except through the Nagoya Protocol, which is an international group, a law that says that if you use a natural resource, that benefits should flow back to the traditional keepers of that resource. Iboga benefits should flow back to Gabon and the Bwiti. The US did not sign the Nagoya Protocol, unfortunately. Otherwise, I believe many more resources would have flowed back to Gabon and Gabonese and the Bwiti. Well, in the Western way that we use Iboga is you have a ceremony with maybe 10 people, maybe 6, maybe a dozen, not too many more. You gather around a fire around sunset, you start a big campfire, and you have a group of people, and the person who's working with the Iboga, the spiritual leader, the shaman, whatever you might call it, he walks around the circle, he or she, and they have a spoon and they give you a spoonful of the raw root bark and you have water and you drink down the powder. You talk about the Bwiti a little bit and learn about they are the keepers of the Iboga, and we talk about a little bit about spiritualism, and then you start to feel it. You start to feel the Iboga inside of you. You start to feel a bit disassociated. It's kind of like ketamine. It's a disassociate. It's a setback. You start getting a little wobbly in your feet, and you might begin to purge. And in purge, I mean you might barf, right? So One by one, people start to feel the iboga, and then you're led with helpers to a bed, and you lay down. You have blankets, and you're on a mattress, and you're comfortable. And above you are speakers, and you put a blindfold on, and you lay back, because when you're standing up, you're dizzy. When you're laying down, the dizziness kind of goes away. So you lay down, and some people, their third eye opens, right? They can see through their third eye. They're having visions, lucid dreams, but they're awake. And the visions start to come. And those visions can be all sorts of things. They could be people, they could be scenes, they could be, you could talk to something. You could talk. And when I mean something, I say it could be a God, could be a spirit, could be talking to yourself, but you can have conversations, you can ask questions, and you can get answers. So it goes on pretty much all night long. And while your eyes are closed, they're playing traditional Bwiti music, which is the magongo, the bow harp, the other harp, which are never played together. They have drums. It's a polyrhythmic type music. And that music has been shown to create uh, patterns in the brain that are known to defrag and to heal the brain, and that is the healing that comes from iboga. And it's a different type of healing. You don't have to have the visions to have the healing. Many people don't have visions. Some people do. It's not all about the visions. Some people have an overwhelming sense of being worked on, being operated on, being cured. Right? There's all these things that happen, and that goes on pretty much all night long. And then in the morning, as the sun rises, the birds start chirping, and you start to come to where you're still wobbly. Somebody may walk you to a room and or an area to sit down, and you're not sleepy at all, but you're still in the medicine. So you're thinking about the experience that you had the night before. You're thinking about the questions you asked and the answers that you received. And you kind of ponder that pretty much all day long. And then the second night, after the ceremony, many times you don't sleep. You're still, because you took a lot of the iboga, you had a ceremonial dose of iboga. You don't sometimes don't sleep the second night. Well, the third day you start to feel much better. The physical of the effects of the iboga are leaving you, and now the nori ibogaine is in your body. So when your body processes iboga, it creates a derivative of iboga, nori ibogaine, norigaine, and that lasts 30, 60, 90 days in your body, and there's many healing benefits that come from that. So in the third or the fourth day, you're feeling fantastic. And then in the Western way, you're feeling fantastic, and you have a second ceremony. They say the first ceremony releases the past and the troubles you're having. You understand why you're working with it, what you hope to gain from it. And then the second ceremony, which is usually not as extreme, the purging might not be extreme, but the second ceremony is much calmer. And in that second ceremony, you begin to understand what the value of the human experience is, what life is all about, and what you want out of your life. And that you have this beautiful opportunity to live every day to your fullest, to leave the drugs and alcohol behind, to get back to baseline where you're feeling good about yourself, where you love others, where you allow yourself to love yourself. Right? The second ceremony is often very different from the first ceremony. Although the second day you're still wobbly and you're still recovering and you're still pondering the experience, the third you might, by now you're pretty tired because of the stay awake effects of the iboga in your body. And then the third day again, you feel really, really good. And then the fourth day, usually it's day 8 on a 2 ceremony thing. Day 8, you leave, you go back home again, and you're back with your family, your friends, and you're back in real life. So that's kind of the Western way. And what we're learning is that integration is very, very important before and after the Western way to do the ceremonies. They say that Iboga works with you well before the ceremony. When you first hear of it, when it first calls you, that's when the experience begins. That's when the process starts. So it's very important to understand why you're going to go have this Iboga experience. And then after the experience, integration is also very important. I like to think of integration as what the experience you had and how you're going to incorporate that experience into your life, right? We don't want to go through all this effort, hard work, sometimes physical discomfort. Sometimes it's expensive if you're traveling to another country to do it, right? Because the medical care and the beautiful treatment that you receive, right? It's taking care of yourself. Sometimes it's very expensive. So why are you going to go through this effort? Well, it's because you wanted to make a difference in your life. So you integrate that into your life. You talk about it with other people. You understand what you wanted to get out of it, what you got out of it, and not to forget why you did it. So that the goal is that you don't have to keep doing it. The goal is that you do it, you have the experience, you learn from it, you incorporate that experience into your life, and you don't keep doing it, but now you're living a different life. If you had PTSD, maybe the experience that caused your PTSD doesn't bother you anymore. If you had addiction problems, maybe the things that you were addicted to, you don't have to do them all the time now. Maybe if you were had a compulsive or disorder. Maybe you're not driven to clean the house all the time. Maybe you've experienced healing. Maybe your Alzheimer's, you started reconnecting the synapses. Maybe Parkinson's. Like there's a lot of amazing things that happen. So the big experience is not meant to be done over and over again. Microdosing might keep that experience active in you enough to where you're connecting your synapses still, but that's kind of the Western way to do it. Is you find out why you want to go do it. You have the big experience. You love yourself. You take care of yourself. You're safe while you do it. You integrate that experience into your life, and then your life changes for the better. And it's amazing. It's unbelievable, really. So that's kind of the Western way to do it. The Bwiti way is very different. The Bwiti way is very community oriented. With the Bwiti way, they it's everything's different. You don't listen to music that's recorded. You listen to the music that your community is making all around you. There's old people, there's young people, there's dogs and cats, there's babies, there's pregnant ladies, and they're not, for the most part, doing a lot of iboga. They don't have a big experience. They take a small amount of iboga and they have a community party, festival, ceremony, whatever you want to call it. They have a gathering. And that gathering starts usually around sunset and it goes all the way until the morning, similar to the Western way. And then the same thing the next day, you're kind of tired. You're in that kind of an afterglow of it. But it's very, very different. The community in the Bwiti and Gabon is amazing. And we've lost that connection to community in many, many parts of the world in the Western way of life. You know, in the Western way of life, people go to work by themselves. They work hard all day long. They go home. A lot of times they take alcohol. They're vaping nonstop to be off a baseline. Their presence is clouded. They're not at baseline. They're always getting high. They're always drinking. They're always doing drugs. They're always watching TV. They're always, sad. There's no belief in a higher power. It's very sad. But in Gabon, the community is very, very strong. My personal life, I wasn't really exposed to babies. Like I don't know, I don't have friends that had babies. I've never really been around with babies. I think I've maybe held a baby one time in my life. But you go to Gabon and the community is super strong. You're with the people that you love, that you grew up with. Everybody is holding the babies. Everybody's taking care of the children. Everybody cares. They love them, right? The love comes from all sides. Everybody loves each other. It's like we need more of that in the Western world. And I believe that this new era of Iboga is going to bring spirituality back to the Western world. It's going to bring community back to the Western world. And I'm very, very excited about it. And I very, very much look forward to seeing humanity change person by person. Because once you heal yourself, your cup gets full and it starts to overflow. Now you can start to enjoy life. You can start to think clearly. You can start to help other people, care about other people. You can become an advocate for other people. You can become an advocate for yourself. You can take better care of yourself. You can love yourself. You can start getting health care if possible, eating better food, right? It's what we need to do to live a full and beautiful life. And I'm just so excited to have this happening in my lifetime. And I'm so excited to work with the Bwiti to help however I can. And I don't want to see pharmaceutical companies rape and pillage and cut apart the Iboga plant. I don't want to see them monetize it, make it not accessible for people. I don't want them to see them break it apart into little pieces and restrict the access. Iboga is a natural plant that was brought to this earth as a gift thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. And the Bwiti have saved it for us for right now. And we must return benefits to the Bwiti. We must care for them, believe in them, love them. Join me on this journey, and we will do this together. I continue to grow, and you continue to grow. And together, we will make a difference in thousands and thousands and tens of thousands and possibly millions of lives. I'm so excited. Thank you very much. I know I was talking very fast today. I'm very excited. I look forward to more conversations with you. I look forward to more learning. I look forward to tomorrow. I look forward to the next couple hours. I look forward to every day. Ah, I love you. I love me. Thank you very much. Basi.